Although their cultivation was profound, they could never have imagined what kind of divine power the new sacred emperor was practicing, one that could reach such an astonishing level. With their knowledge and cultivation, they simply couldn't comprehend the vast power of a mortal emperor by Fan's divine abilities. It was beyond their understanding, and that was only natural. Wang Lin's divine sense could not normally cover such a vast distance, but at this moment, he had forgotten everything. He had transformed into the volcano spirit and merged with each of the cultivation stars. Using the power of the star souls, his influence continued to spread, which led to the scene before them. In the end, it all came down to the mountain collapse divine ability of a mortal emperor by Fan. At this moment, Wang Lin's divine sense encompassed all the cultivation stars of the Vermilion bird sacred sect. As a result, to everyone, the divine sense contained the vastness of countless millennia, enough to make them decay. At this very moment, all the members of the Vermilion bird sacred sect, including the elders, were within Wang Lin's divine sense. They could clearly feel the aura within this divine sense, and almost every elder was shocked. The 4 oldest elders, who had once been dissatisfied, had long since let go of their grievances, shaken by the ongoing developments. If there is no cause, there will naturally be no effect. Thus, there is no cause and effect. If there is no life, there will naturally be no death. Without life and death, there is eternity. If there is no truth, there is no falsehood. Between truth and falsehood, there is only the thought of it. The ancient divine thoughts echoed within this divine sense, reaching the ears of everyone. So that's it. It's all a matter of one thought. No wonder Senior Qing Shui didn't leave detailed insights. Now that I understand, it's all clear. Wang Lin seemed to awaken as the divine thoughts reverberated. In that moment of awakening, the burning star domain shook, and each cultivation star released its star soul. Volcanoes on each star erupted simultaneously. The eruption of volcanoes across all the planets in the star domain immediately caused a thunderous roar that echoed throughout the entire domain. At that very instant, Yin Lazy and the third king of the Corpse In Sect stepped into this burning star domain. The moment they entered, the third king of the Corpse In Sect's eyes sparkled with disbelief. With his cultivation, he instantly felt the overwhelming divine sense within this star domain. This divine sense was so powerful that it could shake the heavens. Even he couldn't help but gasp in awe. To him, it felt as if he wasn't facing a person, but rather the countless cultivation stars that had existed for millennia. The sensation of age and weariness was so overwhelming that even he felt like a junior. Vermilion Bird's Sacred Emperor. The first thing that came to this middle-aged man's mind was the Vermilion Bird's Sacred Emperor, whom he had never seen before. But immediately, he realized it couldn't be, for according to Li Yingji's report, the new Vermilion Bird's Sacred Emperor had only been cultivating for a short time, and clearly couldn't be as powerful as what he was sensing now. Could it be the old Vermilion Bird's Sacred Emperor? The middle-aged man's pupil shrank, and his expression became cautious. Yin Lazy, who had also entered the domain, had his expression change in an instant. He almost immediately sensed the immense divine sense within the burning star domain. This is... Yin Lazy's eyes showed unimaginable shock. In his view, the power of this divine sense was beyond words. It seemed like something no ordinary cultivator could possess. As he sensed the divine sense, Wang Lin also felt Yin Lazy and the middle-aged man's divine senses, which immediately surged toward them. Wang Lin's divine sense stirred, causing thunder to crash and flames to surge within the star domain. Yin Lazy. A divine thought echoed within the star domain. Yin Lazy gasped. He was somewhat familiar with this divine thought, and even had a guess about this divine sense, but at that moment, he couldn't believe his own conjecture. His expression became grave. Who are you? Vermilion Bird's Sacred Emperor. Wang Lin's divine thought slowly transmitted, summoning the thunder of the starry sky, making the thunder roar. You are Wang Lin. Yin Lazy's eyes widened in shock. Not just him, even the third king of the Corpse In Sect was equally astonished. This one must be from the Corpse In Sect. Wang Lin's divine thought gradually transmitted, swirling around the middle-aged man and Yin Lazy. I am the third king of the Corpse In Sect, the middle-aged man said calmly, his expression neutral, revealing no signs of joy or anger. But deep down, he had become even more wary of the Vermilion Bird's sacred sect. Initially, he had planned to observe the sect closely, but now he felt there was no need. Recently, a junior from my corpsing sect, Liangji, brought back a jade slip. I have come to ask the Sacred Emperor where the contents of that jade slip can be found. If you tell me, my corpsing sect would be extremely grateful. The middle-aged man cupped his hands and spoke slowly. Yin Lazy suppressed his shock and also cupped his hands, saying, Sacred Emperor, Yin Lazy also brought back a jade slip to the Thunder Immortal Palace. My question is also about what was written in that jade slip, where exactly it is located. Regarding why Wang Lin's divine sense suddenly became so powerful, Yin Lazy, with his cultivation, could somewhat discern it. However, the ability to perfectly merge the soul of the cultivation star within the star domain was a divine art that made him cautious. The mystery of the Vermilion Bird's sacred sect once again grew in Yin Lazy's mind. I can tell you the place mentioned in that jade slip, but there are dangers everywhere. Whether you go or not is for you to decide. Wang Lin's divine sense reverberated, immediately causing countless crystal lights to appear in front of the middle-aged man and Yin Lazy, transforming into a star map. This star map clearly revealed the Vermilion Bird star. After flickering for a few moments, it gradually dissipated. Vermilion Bird star. Yin Lazy's eyes flashed, and he spoke in a deep voice. The Sacred Emperor has entrusted us with such important news. Surely he has other plans. The middle-aged man smiled slightly and spoke calmly. Each has their own needs. Simply using this as an opportunity to deal with that corpse guardian. Wang Lin's divine sense transmitted. There was no need for concealment about the corpsing sect and Luo Tian, as this was not a conspiracy. Good. The Sacred Emperor is truly straightforward. I, the corpsing sect, thank you. The middle-aged man was slightly startled, clearly not expecting such an answer from Wang Lin. He laughed heartily. Then, after giving a deep glance at the place where Wang Lin's divine sense emanated from afar, he cupped his hands and turned to leave. Yin Lazy was silent for a moment. After the middle-aged man left, his expression became complicated. He sighed lightly and said, I still underestimated you. I never expected. Wang Lin. Today, leaving aside my status as the Thunder Immortal of the Thunder Immortal Palace and your identity as the Vermilion Bird's Sacred Emperor, how do I treat you in Luo Tian? Acceptable. Wang Lin pondered for a moment before transmitting his divine sense. Acceptable. That's a fair response. Wang Lin, I only want to know, is the jade slip's content true, or are you unsure yourself? Yin Lazy's gaze sharpened, and he asked in a deep voice. Senior Yin Lazy, I won't deceive you. The jade slip's contents, without a doubt, are absolutely true. Wang Lin's divine sense transmitted. Yin Lazy nodded, said nothing further, cupped his hands, and transformed into a rainbow, leaving the blazing star domain. After both of them left, the divine sense that had pervaded the entire blazing star domain suddenly collapsed, scattering into countless fragments that disappeared within the star domain. The portion belonging to the soul of the star immediately returned to each of the cultivation stars. In this collapse of divine sense, it also stirred the heaven and earth energy, causing the members of the Vermilion Bird's sacred sect to be shocked. On the cultivation star where Wang Lin was, the volcano had already stopped erupting. Inside the largest volcano, Wang Lin slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were bright, like a sudden flash of lightning cutting through volcanic magma. My realm, I have comprehended the cycle of life and death, then turned to the karmic cycle. Now, using the idea of mountain collapse, I have briefly glimpsed the truth and falsehood. In a single thought, the karmic cycle is complete. My cultivation breaks through to glimpse of nirvana and advances to pure nirvana. My realm has been further influenced by the perception of mountain collapse, causing the transformation of truth and falsehood. This truth and falsehood are different from illusion and reality. They are higher Tao. Wang Lin stood up. With a single step, ripples appeared in the magma, and in the blink of an eye, Wang Lin was outside, gazing at the world, a smile gradually appearing on his face. Pure nirvana. Wang Lin took a deep breath, clearly feeling the difference within his body. The fire essence his body could previously withstand had reached its limit, But now, with a slight movement of his mind, the wind and clouds surged, the fire essence violently condensed and rushed into Wang Lin's body. As the primordial energy continuously surged in, Wang Lin reached out with his right hand, and immediately, a crack appeared with a loud rumble. The crack was unstable at first, as if it could collapse at any moment. However, countless primordial energies surged out from Wang Lin's right hand, pouring directly into the crack, expanding within it. With a resounding boom, the space inside the crack grew larger and became more stable with the infusion of primordial energy, eventually reaching the limit, stabilizing to a degree where it would not collapse easily. No need for the storage pouch in the future. Wang Lin smiled and slapped the storage pouch, causing everything inside it to fly out, entering the crack one by one. Finally, the storage pouch was empty, and with a flick of his hand, it turned to dust and dissipated. Wang Lin left his divine sense imprint on the crack with a single point. With a wave of his hand, the crack closed and vanished. At that moment, Wang Lin's expression changed. His eyes flashed with cold light, and his entire demeanor turned sinister. Stepping forward, he appeared in the starry sky, where not far ahead, a mosquito beast struggled to fly toward him. The mosquito beast was entirely purple, but now it was bloodied, its spirit weak and weary, clearly severely wounded. Had it not been for the faint thought of returning to its master, it would have died long ago. Especially on its back, a vicious wound constantly emitted a greenish aura, and its long proboscis was even broken. The mosquito beast immediately saw Wang Lin, and, letting out a mournful cry, charged straight toward him. Wang Lin slapped the back of the mosquito beast with his right hand, and immediately, the green mist dispersed. His left hand reached into the air, and a crack appeared in front of him. From within, he quickly pulled out a large number of pills and fed them to the mosquito beast. At the same time, his divine sense reached out, penetrating into the mosquito beast's head. As he flipped through its memories, Wang Lin's expression grew even darker. A terrifying killing intent suddenly erupted. "You're looking for death." The other two were also injured. The one in the middle, holding an incense stick, had a hole in his right chest as if it had been pierced through, with blood flowing freely. Though gritting his teeth and enduring, he had to be supported by the other person. Behind them was a group of over 10 giant mosquito beasts. These beasts were also slightly injured but continued to move without any difficulty. Their blood-red eyes fixed on the three in front, though their bodies moved involuntarily, following the scent of the incense. Damn it, the giant mosquito king's larvae escaped. If we could have brought it back to Cloud Sea, we could have exchanged it with the Dark Star Sect for a bottle of the extremely precious Heavenly Decay elixir. The young man who had been injured cursed under his breath, his expression filled with unwillingness. "Shut up. That giant mosquito king must have been raised by someone." For a mosquito beast capable of dominating the Cloud Sea star domain, especially one that has tamed the giant mosquito king, this person must be a powerful cultivator of this alliance star domain. We must quickly join up with the elder. If that powerful cultivator finds out, the consequences will be unimaginable. The young man holding the incense, whose chest had been pierced, said harshly, "I never expected things to go so smoothly. After we left the eastern part of the alliance, the giant mosquito king suddenly struggled and caused all the mosquito beasts to rebel. If it weren't for using 2 mosquito soul incense, the 3 of us wouldn't have been able to lead these mosquito beasts away. We might have even ended up being devoured by them. It's a shame the giant mosquito king got away." The last young man in yellow said greedily, glancing at the 10 or so mosquito beasts behind them. As the 3 of them flew deeper into the crushed stone star domain, they approached an area surrounded by a faint cyan light barrier. As they neared, each of them slapped their storage pouches, pulling out jade slips. They bit their tongues and dripped blood onto the jade slips. Suddenly, the 3 jade slips gleamed with cyan light and shot toward the light barrier. When they collided with it, ripples spread out, and a circular vortex appeared ahead. Without hesitation, the 3 of them rushed into the vortex, along with the 10 or so mosquito beasts following behind them. When they emerged, the 3 of them and the mosquito beasts had entered the interior of the light barrier. Here, their expressions visibly relaxed. The young man holding the incense let out a sigh of relief and said, "It's strange. To think there would be mosquito beasts from Cloud C in this Alliance star domain. Luckily, there aren't many. If they were like in the Wind Immortal realm, with thousands of them. He shuddered, a look of fear in his eyes. Enough, no point thinking too much about it. We've gathered some information for the Sect's mission. Let's leave quickly. I've had this uneasy feeling in my heart the whole time. The three of them exchanged glances and continued flying forward. After a moment, a massive formation made of shattered stones appeared ahead. Flickering cyan light danced on the formation, and around it, nearly 100 yellow-robed cultivators were moving pieces of rock, following a certain pattern to add them into the formation. Above the formation stood two elderly men in purple robes. Though they were white-haired, their eyes were sharp, exuding authority. The two elders were whispering to each other, occasionally pointing toward the formation below. The arrival of the three in yellow immediately caught the attention of the surrounding cultivators. However, they didn't seem too concerned until their eyes landed on the 10 or so mosquito beasts behind the three, at which point their expressions changed drastically. A few of the more timid cultivators, especially those from Cloud C star domain, who had a psychological trauma from mosquito beasts, couldn't help but cry out in shock. Giant mosquito beasts. An uproar broke out, and nearly 100 cultivators dropped what they were doing, all staring in disbelief at the mosquito beasts. The three in yellow robes felt a sense of pride in their hearts, for this was the same reaction they had when they first saw these mosquito beasts. Two beams of purple light suddenly shot out, and the two purple-robed elders stepped forward. The leading elder swept his gaze over the mosquito beasts, then looked at the surrounding cultivators and shouted, "What's the matter with you? Why aren't you quickly assembling the formation?" The elder's loud shout immediately caused the surrounding cultivators to scatter, returning to their unfinished tasks. Yet, their eyes occasionally flicked toward the mosquito beasts, showing a hint of greed. Xun'er, what's the situation with these giant mosquito beasts? The elder asked, his eyes gleaming with curiosity as he turned to the three young men in yellow robes. The young man with a chest injury immediately and respectfully relayed the situation, and after a moment of hesitation, he spoke of the incident that occurred in Xun'er, where the mosquito beast king had escaped. Upon hearing this, the elder's expression darkened, and he glanced at the other elder beside him. The two exchanged glances, and a trace of hesitation flickered in their eyes. If this mosquito beast were a wild creature, it wouldn't be a problem, but the likelihood of that is almost non-existent. Who could be raising such a beast? Can we afford to provoke them? The mosquito beast holds immense value in our Cloud C star domain. These creatures typically form large swarms of hundreds, even thousands, making them almost impossible to resist. Capturing one is no easy task. Even sects above the 6th rank would struggle to capture them, requiring great effort. For our Tianmen sect, these dozen or so mosquito beasts are a vast fortune. The two exchanged a look, both recognizing the greed and decisiveness in each other's eyes. With the cyan light formation in place, it won't be easy for those Alliance cultivators to get in. Even if they are at the perfect shattered nirvana stage, it would take them several days to break through the cyan light formation that the 8th tier sect gave us. After a few days of delay, we'll have already returned to the Cloud C. If they chase us into the Cloud C star domain, they'll never return. Accelerate the formation's construction. The two reached a consensus. The three young men who had brought back the mosquito beast now showed excitement in their eyes. Since the elders had intervened, the safety of the situation was guaranteed. Once back at the sect, they would certainly receive their fair share of credit and rewards. Now I'm actually hoping to see the mosquito beast's master come. Let's see how he'll break through this cyan light formation. How he'll helplessly watch us take his mosquito beasts away, said the young man with the leg injury, grinning smugly. At this moment, the mosquito beast's master, Wang, raised his right hand from the mosquito beast's head. His eyes were cold and his face frosty. Anyone familiar with Wang would immediately recognize this expression as a sign of his intense anger. Wang had his own principles when acting. If others didn't provoke him, he wouldn't retaliate. If Tua Sun had not sworn to a death match after escaping, Wang would not have schemed against him. But now, his mosquito beast had done no wrong, yet it was lured away and gravely injured. This was already crossing Wang Lin's bottom line. Wang Lin clenched his right hand tightly, lifting his gaze to the starry sky. When he had reached the perfect pure nirvana stage earlier, he had faintly sensed the presence of heavenly tribulation. However, since he was within the Vermilion bird sacred sect, if the heavenly tribulation descended, it would likely cause unimaginable damage to the sect. Even with some assistance, Wang Lin didn't need any help at the moment. He wanted to experience the strength of his thunder and fire power during the tribulation. Had it been in the past, Wang Lin would not have been able to delay the coming of the heavenly tribulation, but after learning the Vermilion bird sacred sect's first divine ability, 9 mystic transformations, he could. So, the moment he reached the perfect pure nirvana stage, he immediately sealed himself using 9 mystic transformations, placing his cultivation at the edge of nirvana, faintly resisting the heavenly tribulation. Wang Lin knew that once his mind reached a certain point, his cultivation would truly break through to the nirvana stage, and at that moment, the heavenly tribulation would descend rapidly. Initially, he had planned to leave the Vermilion bird sacred sect and find a secluded spot in the eastern part of the alliance to quietly face the tribulation. However, the appearance of the mosquito beast immediately changed his plans. With a wave of his right hand, he drew the severely wounded mosquito beast into a spatial crack. Using the route from the mosquito beast's memory, Wang Lin took a step forward. With this step, ripples spread ahead, and in an instant, his figure vanished without a trace. Shrinking Earth technique. At the eastern edge of the Alliance star domain, in the endless starry sky, a distortion of over 100 feet suddenly appeared. Waves rippled outward, like a stone dropped into water, creating ripples that spread. In the center of these ripples stood Wang Lin, with white hair and an icy, murderous aura, stepping out. The surroundings were silent as Wang Lin scanned the area. Not far ahead was the place where the mosquito beast and the 3 yellow-robed cultivators had fought. His eyes gleamed with killing intent as he moved forward in a flash. He transformed into a long rainbow, speeding ahead, disappearing without a trace. Thunderous sounds echoed in the starry sky. Wang Lin's speed was so great it caused sonic booms. His white robes fluttered like snow as he moved, and his right hand reached out in the void, immediately summoning the heavily wounded mosquito beast. All of Wang Lin's pills were immortal pills, highly effective. After taking one, the mosquito beast regained a slight sense of awareness, and the bleeding from its wounds ceased. As soon as the mosquito beast emerged, its eyes flashed with a cold, murderous gleam, and it let out a piercing screech. Clearly, it was unwilling to accept its situation. If not for that strange incense, the mosquito beast king, along with more than 10 of its beasts, would never have been injured by 3 mere cultivators. Even its subordinates had been captured. This had never happened since it followed Wang Lin. Now, with its master by its side, the mosquito beast immediately regained its strength, screeching as it chose a direction and flew ahead. Wang Lin's expression was grim as he strode forward, guided by the mosquito beast that had picked up the trail of its kin's scent. His heart burned with fury, and as he moved, countless miniature volcano illusions began to manifest around him. Anyone witnessing this scene, even out in the vastness of the starry sky, would have gasped in shock. The volcano illusions looked so real. At first glance, one could tell they were false, but with a second look, it felt as though one were truly standing amidst erupting volcanoes. The illusion was so vivid, it could shake the heart and mind. This boundary between illusion and reality was enough to rattle any cultivator below the shattered nirvana stage. Even those at the shattered nirvana level would not be immune to its effects. After all, this divine ability was the first of the 3 grand techniques left behind by Immortal Emperor Baifan. Mountain Collapse. Wang Lin's rage manifested externally as the power of Mountain Collapse. He moved alongside the mosquito beast, which was able to detect the unique scent of its kind, something only those of its species could perceive. The mosquito beast king wore a ferocious expression. It could sense a thick concentration of its kin's aura in the area, clear and unmistakable, without the need for careful detection. So, man and beast surged forward through the starry sky. Half a stick of incense later, Wang Lin frowned. The mosquito beast, after all, was wounded, and its pace was slowing. At this rate, It was unclear how long it would take to find the one who had taken its kin. What troubled Wang Lin even more was the looming presence of a heavenly tribulation. He could feel it drawing closer, and the cultivation he had sealed away using the 9 mystic transformations was beginning to stir. This region was part of the outer realm. Unlike the Vermilion bird's sacred Sect's territory, which was long consumed by flames and saturated with only fire essence. Here, the heaven and earth energy was wildly diverse. As Wang Lin advanced, although his cultivation remained sealed, the surrounding energies still poured into his body, flowing through his meridians and slowly transforming them. A pure nirvana cultivator's body undergoes such transformation by heaven and earth energy, making it more attuned to understanding the changing rules of the world. While contemplating, Wang Lin waved his right hand through the void. With a sharp sound, a half-zhang-wide rift appeared in front of him. It wasn't stationary. It moved with him at the same pace through the stars, like a small boat gliding swiftly across the sea. The sight was eerie and strange. Reaching into the rift, Wang Lin pulled out a yellow paper talisman. With a thought, the rift instantly shrank and vanished. He flicked the yellow talisman, and it landed on the mosquito beast. Its body shuddered, and a sudden whirlwind erupted from it, shooting straight up into the sky. The whirlwind turned an earthy yellow, and as it spun, a mournful whistling sound echoed through the starry expanse. Above it, a colossal winged beast materialized. Spreading its wings wide, the mosquito beast let out a deafening screech and shot forward, its speed now surpassing lightning by many times. This was its peak speed. Never before had the mosquito beast moved so fast. The moment it attained such speed, it cried out wildly, yet it showed no discomfort. Only a desperate rush through the stars. Elsewhere, a group of cultivators from the Alliance faction, having received orders to retreat from the battlefield, were flying back in streaks of rainbow light. Suddenly, they were swept up by a fierce gale, with howling winds echoing around them. The gust was so violent that they were scattered, forced to retreat, expressions filled with shock. What was that? Only now did they faintly hear the mosquito beast screeching from behind. Clearly, the cry was far slower than the beast's current speed. Panic spread among the cultivators. After exchanging horrified looks, they quickly fled far from the area. With its unparalleled speed, the mosquito beast raced through the void, tracking the scent of its kind. Soon, it reached the debris star domain, a remote region even within the Central Alliance star domain. There were hardly any planets nearby, and those that existed were barren savage stars, uninhabited and desolate. This meant few, if any, cultivators would ever come here. As it approached a field of rubble ahead, the mosquito beast's screech sharpened with rage. Without hesitation, it charged straight in. The sudden boom of impact followed. Chunks of debris in its path were shattered by sheer force. It crashed onward like a beast gone mad, smashing through the debris and heading deep into the rubble field. At the heart of this rubble zone, within a cyan light formation, an array formed from the debris was nearing completion under the hands of nearly 100 cultivators. The 2 elders in purple robes watched with eager eyes. Once the formation was done, they could finally transport the giant mosquito beast back to the Cloud Sea star domain in peace. At that time, their Tianmin sect would certainly gain immense benefits from these more than a dozen giant mosquito beasts. The 2 were in high spirits, whispering and laughing, the previous concerns dissipating as the formation was about to be completed. But at that moment, suddenly, the more than a dozen mosquito beasts they had sealed not far away, which had been extremely quiet under the influence of several incense sticks, suddenly began to screech. It wasn't just one beast screeching. All the mosquito beasts, their eyes glowing red, were howling in unison and showing signs of struggling. This change immediately caught the attention of the 2 purple-clad elders, and even the cultivators building the formation turned their gazes toward the mosquito beasts. The creatures appeared to have gone berserk, each attempting to break out of the incense circle surrounding them. "Something's wrong," one of the purple-clad elders said in a low voice. The elder beside him was about to speak when his expression suddenly changed, and he whipped his head around. Then, they heard an earth-shattering, thunderous boom coming from the outer edge of the Qingguang formation. For a moment, the cyan light flickered incessantly, casting alternating shadows and bright lights across the surroundings. The two elders immediately grew solemn and shot forward, rushing toward the source. Before they could get close, they suddenly heard a series of shrill screeches coming from beyond the Qinguang formation. As the sound entered their ears, the three young cultivators who had returned with the mosquito beasts immediately changed their expressions. They instantly recognized the screeching as coming from the escaped mosquito beast king. They've really followed us. With the elders here, we might have a chance to capture the mosquito beast king. The three exchanged glances before quickly flying forward. Outside the Qinguang formation, the mosquito beasts, moving at an unimaginable speed and filled with rage, crashed into a cyan light barrier deep within the rubble. The earth-shattering sound echoed through the area. However, the cyan light barrier remained extraordinarily resilient, flickering with light, but not even a single ripple showed, as if unaffected by the mosquito beast's impact. Instead, the mosquito beasts were repelled, bouncing back several hundred feet before coming to a halt. Had it not been for Wang Lin cushioning the recoil, the mosquito beast would likely have been seriously injured again. Filled with resentment, the mosquito beast's pupils turned bloodshot, exuding a murderous intent as they continued screeching. Wang Lin stood by, coldly staring at the cyan light barrier. He took a step forward, raised his right hand, and waved through the air. As he did, the fire essence within him erupted, instantly forming a sea of flames that engulfed the cyan light barrier. The sounds of burning filled the air, yet the cyan light showed no sign of dissipating. You overestimate yourselves. A cold laugh came from inside the cyan light barrier. The two purple-clad elders had arrived, looking at Wang Lin with disdain from beyond the barrier. The two elders, once tense, immediately relaxed upon seeing Wang Lin's cultivation level. Their cultivation hadn't reached the shattered nirvana stage, and they hadn't even attained the perfect pure nirvana stage, only being at the late stage of pure nirvana. After all, they were not true emissaries from the Cloud Sea Star domain, but had secretly arrived through special means. Wang Lin waved his right hand, and the sea of flames receded from the cyan light barrier, surrounding it instead. His dark, cold eyes stared through the barrier at the two elders. Hand over the remaining mosquito beasts and those three reckless juniors, and I might spare your lives. Wang Lin's voice was cold, his tone deliberate. The two elders immediately burst into laughter. One of them sneered and said, "There's someone so arrogant in the Alliance Star domain? With your cultivation, you're here to threaten us? It's utterly absurd." Despite their disdain for Wang Lin, the two elders remained extremely cautious, not daring to step out of the cyan light barrier. In their eyes, Wang Lin should not be the mosquito beast king, but likely one of his disciples. His purpose now was to lure them out. Beyond the cyan light barrier, a powerful figure was surely hiding. Though they had not detected it with their divine sense, the more they thought about it, the more suspicious they became. Wang Lin no longer wasted words. He raised his right hand toward the starry sky, took a deep breath, and in that instant, the cultivation sealed by his 9 mystic transformations suddenly erupted. A pure nirvana aura immediately surged from his body, spreading wildly, drawing the energy of heaven and earth toward him in a large torrent. As the dense primordial energy flooded into Wang Lin's body, the sounds of booming resonated from within him, while an immense force slowly began to condense within the starry sky. Above the debris star domain, a tribulation cloud silently materialized, quickly expanding to cover the entire domain. At the same time, a mighty force of heaven and earth descended from the sky, quickly enveloping the area, effectively sealing off the entire debris star domain. This is heavenly tribulation. The two purple-robed elders widened their eyes in disbelief, fear flashing across their gaze. Even though both of them were pure nirvana cultivators, they had little experience with heavenly tribulations. The only reason they recognized it immediately was that, before arriving in the Alliance Star domain, they had just witnessed a heavenly tribulation in the Cloud Sea Star domain. A thunderous roar that could shake the entire starry sky echoed, and a red lightning bolt suddenly shot out from the heart of the tribulation clouds. The bolt, as thick as a barrel, struck down with immense force, causing all the debris in its path to shatter. Even the starry sky itself seemed to crack open under the power of the red lightning, as though it, too, were about to break apart. The red lightning moved so fast that within the cyan light barrier, the two purple-robed elders saw the flash of red thunder descending from the heavens, causing their hearts to tremble. The bolt of red lightning shot directly toward Wang Lin. This person, how did he manage to summon the heavenly tribulation before us? One of the purple-robed elders muttered, as if even he could hardly believe it. The red lightning, with a terrifying aura, spread ripples through the air as it thundered down upon Wang Lin's head. Wang Lin remained unmoved, his expression unchanged. The moment the red lightning was about to strike, he raised his right hand and clenched it tightly. In an instant, the mighty lightning shattered under his grip, transforming into countless red arcs of electricity that scattered around Wang Lin. The two purple-robed elders gasped in shock, unable to comprehend what they had just witnessed. Behind them, the three young men in yellow robes arrived, and immediately saw Wang Lin crushing the heavenly tribulation's red lightning. The sight sent chills down their spines, nearly terrifying them out of their wits. One of them even trembled uncontrollably, his eyes filled with overwhelming fear. Wang Lin's expression remained cold, his indifference making the heavenly tribulation's thunder seem trivial. After easily crushing the first bolt of lightning, he waved his right hand. Instantly, the red arcs of electricity that had spread out began to move, as if controlled by him, swiftly gathering toward his right hand. In the blink of an eye, a red glow appeared on his right hand, within which a bolt of lightning crackled and roared. Wang Lin's cold eyes locked onto the people within the cyan light barrier. As they sensed something was amiss, he threw his right hand forward, sending the red glow hurtling toward the barrier. With a loud crash, the red glow became a bolt of red lightning, striking the cyan barrier. The entire barrier shook violently, causing the two purple-robed elders inside to turn pale. He is no ordinary cultivator. The strength of the cyan barrier exceeded Wang Lin's expectations, as a single bolt of heavenly thunder failed to shake it. If one won't do, then I'll use 10. If 10 won't do, then 100. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with killing intent. At that moment, the tribulation clouds above the starry sky began to swirl again, thunderous roars echoing. Another red lightning bolt descended furiously. But it wasn't just one bolt. Following it, more red lightning bolts appeared, as if forming a connected line. In total, 9 red bolts of heavenly thunder plummeted toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, but a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. Laughing aloud, he leaped into the air, not dodging, but charging directly toward the 9 bolts of heavenly thunder. At the same time, the vortex on his forehead shifted, and the primordial thunder dragon's spirit shot out, roaring toward the 9 bolts of heavenly thunder in the sky. The roar of the thunder dragon commanded all lightning to obey. However, there was no one but Wang Lin in the entire world who could dare to roar at the heavenly tribulation lightning with the spirit of the thunder dragon. The 9 bolts of thunder, crashing down, momentarily halted at the roar of the thunder dragon. Wang Lin laughed again and charged into the midst of the 9 bolts of heavenly thunder. His left eye flashed with lightning, seemingly possessing an immense gravitational force, and in an instant, all 9 bolts of lightning rushed toward his left eye. The thunder rumbled on, but one by one, the bolts of lightning surged into Wang Lin's left eye, ultimately dissipating. At this moment, Wang Lin's left eye emitted an intense flash of lightning, crackling with energy, as arcs of lightning radiated from his body like that of a thunder immortal. Is this all the power it has? Wang Lin raised his head, staring at the tribulation clouds above, and roared loudly. At this moment, he had no idea how much of an impact this spectacle of devouring the heavenly thunder had on the people inside the cyan light barrier. The 3 young men in yellow robes were so terrified their hearts nearly exploded. They never imagined that the person they had provoked would be such a terrifying opponent. Swallowing the heavenly tribulation. The 2 purple-robed elders turned even paler. No longer filled with the arrogance they had earlier, they stared at Wang Lin with shock and disbelief. In their eyes, this white-haired youth must be hiding his true cultivation. Especially after witnessing the swallowing of the 9 bolts of heavenly thunder, Sweat broke out on their foreheads. One of them turned around and shouted urgently, "Quickly, form a formation. Hurry!" The nearly 100 cultivators in the distance, although not approaching, could naturally see the scene above the starry sky from their positions. At this moment, their minds were shaken, and at the elders' shout, they all gasped in panic and quickly accelerated their formation of the array. The two purple-robed elders also rushed back, disregarding their status, and personally joining the array formation. "Quickly, we must leave this damned Alliance star domain as soon as possible. How could there be such a person here? Who can devour heavenly tribulation?" The tribulation cloud in the starry sky condensed again, and an overwhelming pressure erupted wildly. In an instant, a 10-jong-wide purple heavenly thunder struck down with a booming sound. Its power was so great that as soon as it appeared, it immediately tore through the starry sky and plunged into the void beneath. However, just 3 inches in front of Wang Lin, it pierced through the starry sky and shot back out, heading straight for Wang Lin's forehead. With a low growl, Wang Lin did not retreat a single step. Instead, he raised his arms as if to embrace it, and the Tinjong purple lightning was forcibly held in front of him. The booming sounds reverberated, but Wang Lin's body remained still, surrounded by a barrage of residual lightning that crackled around him. It wasn't over. The heavenly tribulation seemed to grow angrier as more purple lightning bolts descended, continuously striking in front of Wang Lin. Gradually, the ball of lightning in front of Wang Lin grew larger and larger, eventually reaching nearly 100 zhong in size. Wang Lin's body also began to retreat under the constant bombardment of thunder, but his expression revealed madness. "Bring it on!" Wang Lin shouted to the heavens. With a thunderous boom, the tribulation cloud above the starry sky covered a vast area, and a roar, almost like a human voice, suddenly rang out. At the same time, a 7-colored heavenly thunder descended with a deafening crash. As soon as the 7-colored heavenly thunder appeared, it split into 7 bolts of lightning, each of a different color, carrying unimaginable heavenly might as they rushed down toward Wang Lin. With a loud rumble, Wang Lin's body retreated once more. The ball of lightning in front of him had already reached several hundred zhong in size. The force of the thunder within it was unfathomable. Even though Wang Lin could control the thunder of heaven and earth, at this moment, he was finding it hard to bear. Looking up at the endless, rolling tribulation clouds, with flashes of 7-colored lightning, Wang Lin's body swayed. The lightning ball in front of him immediately shot downward, and with the trembling, horrified cries of the people within the cyan light barrier below, Wang Lin threw it down with force. This ball of lightning, containing countless heavenly thunder strikes, had enough power to shake the heavens. Under Wang Lin's control, it shot straight toward the cyan light barrier below. Inside the barrier, the two purple-robed elders' faces turned pale as their pupils contracted rapidly. "Activate the array," one elder immediately shouted, despite the array not yet being fully formed. At this moment, no one objected. The nearly 100 cultivators seated themselves at various positions, their hands forming seals as they continued to activate the array. The two purple-robed elders, seeing the massive lightning ball descending from the sky, immediately sat cross-legged in midair, their minds dispersing and merging into the cyan light barrier, attempting to strengthen its power. Just as their primordial spirits merged into the barrier, the lightning ball crashed down, hitting the cyan light barrier with a massive roar. The shockwave surged around the entire barrier. Endless lightning poured down on the barrier, causing it to dim in an instant. The two purple-robed elders simultaneously vomited blood, their eyes filled with terror. One elder's physical body shattered with a loud crack, and his primordial spirit shot out, screaming as it rushed toward the array they were activating. Countless bolts of lightning pierced through the cyan light barrier, wildly darting around like dragons. The cultivators sitting cross-legged to activate the array were immediately struck by the electric dragons, their bodies blackened in an instant. Even their primordial spirits couldn't escape, and they died instantly. Under the bombardment of this lightning ball, the cyan light array collapsed with a mighty crash, shattering into countless pieces. A massive shockwave spread in a circular motion, rapidly pushing outward. The mosquito beast, sensing danger, immediately sped away. It was quick enough to avoid any threat. However, all the rubble in the debris star domain turned to dust as the cyan light array collapsed, scattering with the shockwave. In the blink of an eye, the entire debris star domain disappeared, leaving only the central region with a single remaining piece of rubble. Wang Lin charged forward, filled with murderous intent and the fury of the mosquito beast's heavy injury. He stormed in, and at this moment, the tribulation cloud above the starry sky shifted, and with thunderous roars, more than 100 bolts of 7-colored lightning descended, heading straight for Wang Lin. Following these 7-colored lightning bolts, a field of heavenly fire descended. This fire-based heavenly tribulation was appearing for the first time, burning as it fell. At that very moment, the formation made of debris was finally activated. Slowly, it began to rotate amid the dazzling starlight, its overwhelming power gradually emanating outward. The heavily injured elder in purple struggled to fly out after his companion's essence spirit, heading straight for the formation. As long as they entered the formation, both of them could survive. They had already developed a deep fear of Wang Lin in their hearts. Seeing the formation activate, several cultivators nearby had already entered, about to be teleported away. If they managed to escape, Wang Lin would never allow it. His eyes flashed, and suddenly, the starry sky seemed to surge with a colossal wave, a force so powerful that it could shatter the very stars. In the blink of an eye, this force erupted wildly around Wang Lin's body. At the same instant, illusory volcanoes appeared out of nowhere around him, surrounded by scorching heat. Deep, muffled roars continuously echoed from inside each volcano. Mountain collapse. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with murderous intent as he spoke softly.